your own take on all of this, and I think it's very interesting. You think that these claims are untrue.
There's a story called The Crucible, and everybody saw Goody dance with the devil, but Goody didn't dance with the devil. Didn't matter how many people said Goody danced with the devil. And I feel as though this is a serious political ploy. It has some racial implications, truly. And Mr. Cain has the nerve, he dares, to bring a plan to America that will change our lives, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for all people. And so because his critics, because the establishment cannot find fault with that, they want to attack his character. And I don't think that's right.
Well, you just heard Charles Krauthammer say that it's wrong to point the finger at who may be behind this, if indeed anybody is behind this, besides these women. You claim, though, where do you think it's coming from?
Well, I believe, as I say, the establishment.
Who do you mean when you say that?
There can be people who are Republicans, Democrats, some people that just are not ready for truth. They fear truth. They want everything to stay the same way. And so if they can keep it the same way, you don't let an unconventional person with an unconventional campaign say, hey, I'm not a politician. I'm a businessman. I have solutions. Let's do it differently. Because if you change things and you do things differently, then a lot of people may even think they'll be out of jobs. I mean, business as usual won't happen.
Well, you said that there are racial implications here. What did you mean by that?
Well, consider this. We have an African-American president, a man with brown skin. The top contender in the Republican Party right now, a man with brown skin, an African-American man who really is the epitome of the American dream. You know, Mr. Cain graduated from Morehouse College. My uncle Martin Luther King Jr. graduated from Morehouse College. Mr. Cain is a businessman. He's a preacher. Martin Luther King Jr. was a preacher. And so they have so much in common, the African-American experience, truly. So to have the voice of the true African-American experience facing the President of the United States, that's a picture that America has never seen. I believe America's a little nervous about it, but the people are not so nervous, and the polls are showing that.
You think that the Democratic establishment looks at him as a threat to the African-American vote in this country?
You know what's so threatening about Mr. Cain's position? He says no more welfare. Maybe workfare, that's a way of saying it, but his language is much more clear. In other words, we'll help the people by allowing the people to help themselves. We don't have to cripple the people, but we're going to empower the people. We're going to give the people opportunities. And so if you give the people opportunities, you give the people power. I believe the establishment is afraid of that. They like the control.
I understand what you're saying. And as we discussed on the way into this, who knows where this came from, if indeed it came from anywhere other than these women deciding that they wanted to speak out. But what do you think about, these women? I heard Mr. Cain last night. He sounded, very believable in his statement that he doesn't even remember this woman. But then you hear these women come out, and they also, they may not be, completely virtuous, and they may have other things in their background that cause people to kind of raise an eyebrow. However, that in and of itself does not change whether or not, if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't.
When we watch people historically and they have to remember something that happened and you ask them to give an account, they often will say, because the layers, it's like peeling an onion, you have to go back in history and you have to remember. So a person who's telling the truth will say, I don't remember. I have to think about that. Now, if it's rehearsed, and you know exactly what you're trying to rehearse, you can remember a script. But real memory, it takes time. For instance, when one of the women's, her lawyer was examined, and several times he says, I don't remember. I don't recall it that way. Nobody went nuts and said he was lying when he said he didn't. But when you have Mr. Cain say, I don't remember, I have to think about that. Oh, he must be hiding something. No, he is remembering. And the memory process can be like peeling onions.
Well, we will see where all this goes. But thank you very much for speaking on his behalf.